everybody, thank you so much for clicking on this video. So today we are talking all about workout splits. So within this video, we will define a workout split. I'll give you some tips to decide on if it's something that you would like to do, and then we're gonna walk through mine. But let's first define what a split is. A workout split is the way you divide up your workouts throughout the week, either by body region, movement, or lift. This originally started as more of a bodybuilder strategy to make sure that they could efficiently hit all different parts of their body for hypertrophy training throughout the week. But now you do find that it is kind of common practice with the everyday person going to the gym. Common splits that you'll see are like upper or lower, push or pull. And people ask me all the time, what should I do? What should my workout split be? And this is gonna depend on a lot of things. When you're deciding on a workout split, I want you to think about what is your goal, what do you have time for, and what do you enjoy? Those are the top three things that are going to define what your workout split should be, and really just if you should have one. So since I can't answer that question individually for you about what your workout split would be, we're gonna walk through mine, and I'm gonna explain a little bit more about why I built it that way. So before we break this down, I also need you to understand that I teach about 5 group fitness classes a week. Now, most of the time those are virtual, so most of the time I'm doing anywhere between 40 to 100% of the workout. So that is something that I need to keep in mind when I'm planning my workouts, because that's already a lot of movement right there. Other things to keep in mind though is that I am not performing these classes to 100% intensity. I am not performing these exercises with my max weight because these workouts aren't for me. These are for you, or these are for my clients. So that's also why I find it's very important to schedule my own workouts in where I can train at that higher level and just for like my specific goals. So Editing Justina is gonna like pop up a calendar here somewhere, and we're just gonna quickly fill in what my teaching schedule is because it is all movement based and it did influence why and where I put my split. So let's do that first. So on Mondays, I teach a dance cardio class. On Tuesdays, I teach a more strength-based class. On Wednesdays, I teach a bar class. On Thursdays, I teach a stretch class. And then on Fridays, I teach, it's a core class, but it's really full body with a core emphasis. But I would say it's more like strength endurance because it does get set to the tone of music. So we do tend to like get our heart rate up a little bit more than in the Tuesday class. Now let's jump into my workouts or my workout split. Sometimes the days change, but typically this is what works for me. On Mondays, I do a full body pull day. On Wednesdays, I do a full body push day. And then on Fridays, I do a full body power or conditioning or more strength endurance based workout. Oh, I also forgot to add in there, usually twice a month on Thursdays, I have like a 3-hour filming day where I'm filming workouts for my on-demand program. So we're just gonna like put that in the calendar somewhere. Okay, now that's everything. So let's talk a little bit more about why I chose this split. Number one, I don't have time during my week to do the traditional like 5 or 6 day split where it's like upper body pull, upper body push, lower body push, core, glutes, quads. I don't have time for that. I would rather just work out full body 3 times a week, call it a day. And granted, I also understand I'm getting in like exercise during the rest of my week on other days, but as far as my training for me, 3 full body days works perfectly. You know, also if we're just thinking about it from a functional standpoint, I prefer this because I don't do a lot of isolation work. I just don't find that it's super functional because that's not how we move in daily life. We typically move with the full body. So anyway, now I landed on a push and pull and power kind of split for a few reasons. Number one, if I want to work full body, I find that working pull and push is a little bit easier, and you don't need to split it up. Like you can just do like full body, whatever you want. But for me, when I was programming, it gave me a little bit of strategy and a little bit of structure, which I really liked. And remember that a big part of this is doing something you enjoy. So we've got push and pull, and then I wanted to throw a power and more conditioning day in there. A lot of that is because I'm not teaching as much dance cardio as I used to, so my endurance capability is definitely just down. And then I've talked about this in a video recently, but as adults, as we age, we lose power at almost double the rate that we lose strength. So it is really important to focus on some power training within your workouts. The other thing to note about this full body power day is that, you know, when I say power, it could be strength endurance, it could be conditioning. It's just gonna be less about like working for heavy lifts and then taking that long rest time. It's gonna be more about just moving through it. What I've been doing on this day is actually putting in either like a YouTube workout or taking a virtual or in-person group fitness class, because again, we wanna remember that we need to like what we're doing, and I like doing those things. So now that you understand my what and why, we're gonna actually look at it instead of just me sitting here talking about it. So let's jump into our full body pull day. So I started my week of workouts with a full body pull day and one of my love-hate exercises, a single leg elevated deadlift. If you want to absolutely torch your ass, you need to try these. They are definitely very advanced. Think Bulgarian split squat level, and I'd recommend starting pretty light until you've nailed your form. This is a great progression from really any type of deadlift and will challenge your single leg strength as well as your stability. All for very obvious reasons. Now, you'll notice that I'm taking fairly long rest between sets. That's because I'm not training endurance during this workout. I'm training for strength. So I'm gonna take 1 to 2 minutes between sets to let my heart rate come back down to about 80 beats per minute. Now that's specific to me, but I have a whole video coming out about heart rate zones where you can do your own calculations and the importance behind it. So make sure that you're subscribed to that so you don't miss it when it comes out. After my deadlifts, I'm going into my power exercise, kettlebell swings. I've mentioned it in other videos, but as we age, we lose our power at a much faster rate than we lose our strength. So I always implement one power exercise into every single workout that I do. And the nice thing about kettlebells is that it's an incredible tool to work both power and strength at the same time. Now, something to remember with power training, your rep range will be about 1 to 10 reps. So you want to pick something heavy enough to challenge you in that range, but also safe enough to perform at your fastest speed. Personally, I do need to buy a heavier kettlebell because 40 pounds just really isn't that challenging anymore, but this weight is still a great place for me to practice my form until I decide to splurge. Next up is a superset of chin-ups and TRX rows. If you saw my pull-up video, you know I worked really hard for a month to get my first chin-up and pull-up, and unfortunately I stopped practicing and lost all of my strength in them. So really the superset is just to build back up that strength in my back and gain more confidence in my chin up again. Moving on to another superset of a lateral lunge curl with a heavy front carry. I paired these together to really burn out the biceps. Now I just prefer to work my biceps with other muscles rather than just isolated curls because I don't have that time to perform one thing at a time. I also find it more functional since we don't typically isolate one muscle group at a time in daily life. Now the heavy front carry is another that's super functional and a great one for the biceps in an isometric contraction. Just make sure you're not resting the weight against your chest and cheating yourself out of that burn. Finally, I ended with a finisher of ab rollouts. These work anti-extension and are brutal on your core. It's also going to recruit your lats to help you pull that wheel back in, which is overall just a great way to end a pull day. Ayo! It's a push day. Also, can we acknowledge the fit? Fashionista. So I started my full body push day with some good old-fashioned dumbbell squats. You really can't go wrong with the basics. I've been working on these simply to strengthen the squat pattern under heavy resistance. You'll notice that I keep it a little more upright, and a lot of that actually has to do with the nature of where the weight is loaded. If I hinge too forward to target more of the glute, I'm gonna risk tipping forward since the weight is already more like at the front of my body. I hope that makes sense. But this was actually done purposely since it's a push day, so I want to bias the quad here. Then I moved on to my power exercise, a single arm clean to a single arm snatch. Now you could 100% argue that this isn't really a push exercise because it's not 100% a push exercise, but if you've ever watched my videos before and my workouts before, you know that I really love kettlebells and I'm gonna take any opportunity to just practice my basic skills. So I'm currently working on cleans and snatches out of a swing rather than a dead stop from the ground. And you can see I still got some work to do. After that, I moved on to a superset for the chest, travel push-ups with a chest press. Now, travel push-ups, lateral push-ups, power push-ups, whatever you want to call them, they are a great way to progress your push-ups in a different plane and angle. I really went low rep here because I was supersetting with the chest press, which is a very traditional upper body push exercise that you'll see pretty often. I personally rarely utilize it, which is why I made sure to put it in my current program. Now, I was too lazy to take out my bench, so I did these right from the floor. And for my purposes, it really doesn't make a difference. But by using a bench, you can increase the range of motion since your elbows won't get stuck at hitting the floor, and you can change the angle using the bench to bias different parts of the chest as well. Then I moved on to another superset that honestly makes no sense, but here we are. I did a lateral lunge with a single arm overhead press. I think my logic here was to like give my lower body a break between reps so that I didn't have to sit around waiting for my rest time to be up. We're just gonna say that was my reasoning behind it. So jumping into the first exercise of the pair, if you have never noticed yet, I am fully obsessed with lateral lunges. I think they are an incredibly underutilized exercise and an excellent way to target the entire lower leg complex. Now, most lunges we see are front to back, right? We see reverse lunges and front lunges. So by moving side to side, this adds in a little bit more of a challenge. With that, we get a lot more of the inner thigh to help stabilize, and you can choose to bias the quad or the glute and hamstring complex depending on the angle of your upper body. Then I got a nice long rest for my lower body because I pretty much went right into a single arm overhead press. Now, if I'm doing solely upper body, I do prefer to isolate each side. This actually helps to identify and work out any strength imbalances, but in this specific instance, it actually also helps with your form. So pressing both arms overhead with heavy weight puts a lot of people at more risk of spinal extension and a flared rib cage. So basically this means that you are not engaging your core and you're putting a lot of pressure on the low back. But by isolating one arm at a time, you have more control over your core and still get, in my opinion, the full benefits of this exercise. Now, am I saying that you should never do both arms at the same time pressing overhead? Absolutely not. But I think that this is a great way to get in some other benefits and really perfect your form before going up to that level. Finally, I ended with a bird dog plank. Now, this is a very advanced core exercise working anti-rotation, anti-extension, and just your overall stability. I always like to end with a core exercise, and I like to focus on working in either a plane of motion or some kind of anti-movement that I didn't get in my major lifts during the rest of my workout. This is also a great place where you can like get a little more creative and just have some fun. So for my fun power workout of the week, I chose a kettlebell AMRAP workout with Heather Robertson. I've actually done an entire review on Heather's program, so definitely check that out if you're interested in learning more. But spoiler alert, I adore her. Now, this workout is an excellent example of combining strength, power, and endurance. It's structured in 5 circuits consisting of 4 exercises, a compound lift, an accessory exercise or 2, and a cardio exercise. She also kept the reps at 8, which is absolutely perfect for power. Remember, we really don't want to work much higher than 10 reps for a power workout. Looking at this whole program from a functional standpoint, I think it's pretty freaking killer. You know, we've got all planes of motion here, sagittal, frontal, transverse. We've got our different tempos, different angles, unilateral work. Overall, I'd recommend checking out this workout as well as her others.
'Cause we're trying to fill the holes in our souls, trying to feel the music, let it take control. Stuck on the bottom, trying to feel on top, wishing everything would just come to a stop.
So I hope you found this helpful and interesting, just kind of like taking a peek behind the scenes of what I'm doing when I'm not doing workouts for my clients. If you have any questions about workout splits, definitely leave it down in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and I will see you in the next one.